Everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with y'all 3 stocks that have pretty decent setups on there, but they also have earnings, and a lot of stocks are reporting earnings, so we're going to look at those. We're also going to be doing an update on the overall market. Y'all, let's dive into the charts right off the bat. We got the Nasdaq futures, all right? And so far, I mean, it's still trading at 20,600. The last video that I put out was about 2 weeks ago on this day. And right now, we're still at the same price. It's been chopping in between the last few days, all right? There has been some opportunities to make some money intraday in those 2 days. But right now, it's just looking like a bull flag. I didn't like the way it closed on Friday. It was looking kind of sus, especially when it closed below that level of below resistance. Right now, the futures market are positive, but absolutely nothing is guaranteed regarding to when exactly are we going to push to 21,000. Like I told you guys in the last video. All right, that's kind of tricky. How long are we going to chop sideways before we push upwards? All right, that really depends. There's also some economic events happening, not this week, but the next week. So next week, there's the week of November. In the month of November, we have to deal with elections and then also the FOMC meeting. So I'm not really sure if the market is going to continue to drag its feet some more. So what I can tell you right now is to take things day by day. When I compare all of the indices together, there is some ambiguity. The markets are looking sus, meaning the Nasdaq is in bullish territory at the moment. But when I check out the SPY is trying to get bullish. There was a retest of that level of support from the previous ascending triangle right there. Right, we have the breakouts, we have the support line, and then we have the retest after it did what it was supposed to do. All right, and right now it's just making higher lows, which I guess is a good sign for the bulls. But again, how long are we gonna continue to chop before we really take off and get into like the $6,000 range? That's something to discuss later on. All right, but when we look at the Dow Jones, that one is in bearish territory. It's still struggling to really turn around. Also, I cannot rule out the possibility of a retest of this support at 41,500. So just keep that in mind moving forward. Keep that in mind. Right now, the first stock that I want us to discuss in today's video, which has a decent structure on there. That stock is, we're gonna start with SoFi or SoFi, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Now, this one right here, the structure on it is on the weekly. It has earnings, I believe, tomorrow morning. No, in 2 days, Tuesday morning. And I'm not leaning bearish on it because when I look at the weekly, first of all, it's trying to recover after being demolished from the highs of 25. All right, it's trying to recover. It's been stagnant for about 2.5 years now, and it's really trying to push up. Now, this thing right here, there is this structure on there. It had a nice clean breakout on about a month ago, right here at $8.50. So far, it's been going. It's at 11. Y'all see where my alerts are, right? That's the initial thought that I had on the stock before it popped out of here. And now that it's out, I think earnings might be what it needs to really push the stock up to 14 bucks. I think earnings might do it for the stock. So keep your eyes on it. I'm not saying gamble through earnings. Like I always say, holding anything through earnings is 150% gambling. And you could lose a lot of money, especially if it gaps down and just retest support, which has happened before. All right, we've seen examples like this where this situation has happened after earnings. So just be very cautious and patiently wait for how it opens. If you want to be risky and gamble through earnings, do so at your own risk. I don't recommend it. All right, now the second stock that I want to share in today's video is Ford. And Ford is trying to bounce off of support. And support on Ford is at 10 bucks. All right, when I zoom out, that's where support is. We're going to zoom in a little bit. We're going to look at the daily. And with the daily, there is that on there, which still don't have that one day that closes above the line. I mean, it did, but it crept back inside. Right, this is not a candle that I would trust as a breakout candle. No, something that looks like that will be a bit more trustworthy for an upward push. But the setup is there. It's trying to really play out. And also there's a giant gap up here, all the way up to 14 bucks. So depending on how it opens, there could be an opportunity on here for a day trade after the reaction through earnings, especially if it's a little bit positive and we see an opening at like $11.75 or maybe even $12. All right, now watch the news. Sometimes when we see little gaps, the stock itself can be upgraded by other companies and other analysts, and they will put up a price targets like 15 bucks or 16 bucks, and then there could be a big push out the gates. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. Have an alert right here. And when it rings, again, it will let you know when it rings and you will see exactly how it's opening. And the key is the first 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes, all right? Now, let's look at the third stock. The third stock to keep in your watch list. I've shared two where the sentiment on it is bullish, but now we got to look at BP. All right, and with BP, this is an oil stock. This one, I'm not leaning bullish at all like the first two. And I say this because of what I shared with you guys about 2 months ago with the oil sector. When we're gonna zoom out to the weekly, yeah. All right, now with the weekly, this is how BP is looking. And what I see right off the bat, I see a triple top and a neckline right here. All right, so we have first top, second top, and then third top. And typically with this, the price target is all the way down here at $27.50. Right there. Right where support is. So earnings might be the catalyst that it needs to take a dive and drop down there. All right. We already had the retest of the neckline right here. And maybe even right here also. So, like, another reason why I'm also taking that point of view, this bearish point of view on oil, is because of crude oil's futures. And the structure on there that I gave you guys 2 months ago is still there. That little one kind of played out during that week. It bounced a little bit, went all the way up to 80, and then dropped again below support. Now I'm gonna clean up the chart, and then this is the small structure, but the big structure was right here, right there. All right, and so far we're trading under that line. So negative reaction on oil companies could really drive this thing down to 55, like I originally told you guys when it was at 72 during like the first week of September, right? It didn't really dive that deep, but now that we have earnings coming up, it could really take that dive down to 60 at first and then eventually 55. So that's my honest thoughts on the oil sector. A quick update on LRCX, which was the stock that I gave you guys in the last video. Unfortunately for this one, another stock in the same sector leaked their earnings and they put out poor guidance in the middle of the day, and all of these, like the semiconductor sector, pretty much just took a dive. All right. Do I think that it's going to get to 90? Yes, the move just got prolonged to November. unfortunately. All right, but just like I showed you guys with BP, with the triple tops, on this one I see a triple bottom. Let's look at the daily. All right, it's more clear on the daily. We have again the same structure, but this one is a little bit like a lot earlier than what BP is. Triple bottom with the neckline being at right here at 90 bucks. All right, I think he's going to retest it in the next few weeks, especially after it crushed earnings. It's only a matter of time before it gets up here, right? BP is somewhere right here before its earnings pushes it in its direction, obviously down. But you get what I'm trying to say. It's pretty much like, let me just inverse that entire. Let me go on the 2 minutes. You're gonna zoom in, and then we're gonna put in a negative right here, and then clean up the chart. Okay, the chart's already clean. All right, so this is what I mean. BP has that going for itself. All right, and it already did this along with the retests, and now it's like here at this point, and earnings gotta bring it down to support, which is right here with BP. All right, this is the negative. I put a negative there to flip the chart. So this is what I anticipate with LRCX. Like I said, I was wrong about the timing over here, but at the same time, that company leaked their earnings, and you got to pay attention to the market, especially things like that can happen. All right, it's very rare, but they do happen, unfortunately. All right, so just keep your eyes on that. And lastly, Apple. All right, Apple actually did what I told y'all it would do, which was to test 237. All right, before determining whether the big structure is actually real or not. It ended up taking a dive after hitting. There it is. After hitting that level first, all right, it ended up taking a dive and then try to retest again, and now it's just trading sideways. Earnings is around the corner, all right, and earnings will decide its fate, whether we push higher above 240 or not. It's gonna be a tricky one, all right. So again, we're gonna take things day by day. If there is a structure that happens between now and earnings, I might make a video on it again. All right, so that's my honest thoughts on all of these stocks, and that is the end of the video. Do not forget to annihilate the like button as always. I try to make these videos every day at like 10 p.m. Central Time, right? So definitely click on that subscribe button and click on that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on future uploads. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community, we can get all of this information in real time as I see them. You can find it as the first link in the description of the video below. Don't forget to follow my social media at Paul and Domain at Patternology Lab on Instagram and on X. And lastly, to get some free stocks with Webull, you can use the third link in the description of the video below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in the next video.